Geronimo Stilton, Paws off, Cheddarface. Dear mouse friends, welcome to the world of Geronimo Stilton. The Rodents Gazette editorial staff. Geronimo Stilton, Paws off, Cheddarface. A whacking in the morning. It all started one morning. I was on my way to the office when I stopped by an elderly female rodent. No, she didn't stop me to ask the time or to get my autograph. Oh, did I tell you I'm a best-selling author and I run a newspaper called the Rodents Gazette. Maybe you have heard of me. My name is Stilton, Geronimo Stilton. Anyway, as I was saying, this mouse was not a fan. She was the exact opposite. One minute she was staring me in the snout, and the next she'd pulled up her umbrella. Then she whacked me over the head. I was in shock. What was that for? I squeaked. The mouse just stamped her paw. Young mouse, you have got some nerve. Have you forgotten about the bus stop? She shrieked. I shook my head. I had no idea what this mouse was talking about. You stepped on my paw on Monday morning, she insisted, and you didn't even bother to apologize. How rude. Without another word, she stalked off in a huff. I didn't know what to make of it. I had never seen that mouse in my life. Unbelievable. Troubler at the Nibbler. I headed towards the subway. At the station, I ran into a friend of mine. His name is Benny Blue Whiskers, but most rodents call him the Big Cheese. That's because he knows everything there is to know about cheese: color, size, shape, texture, and he even invented Mouse Island's famous cheese measure. And his nose is the most famous sniffer on all of Mouse Island. He can smell a cheese Danish baking a mile away. What a schnoz, what a gift. As soon as he saw me, Benny frowned. Some friend you are, Geronimo, he cried. How could you do that to me last night? I looked at him confused. Last night, I repeated. What had I done last night? Oh yes, I spent the evening watching television. I'm not usually a TV mouse, but sometimes I like the tales of rodents' past. Last night I saw an episode about cave mice. It was fascinating. I started to tell Benny about the show, but he didn't seem interested. Nice try, Geronimo, he snorted, but you weren't watching TV last night. You were making fun at me down at the Nibbler. Now I was really confused. The Nibbler is a popular diner in town. Sometimes we mice go there for coffee and to shoot the cheese. But I hadn't been there in months. I know I'm not the thinnest rodent in town, but you didn't have to call me a furry whale with a tail, Benny shrieked. You really hurt my feelings. Geronimo. After all those years, I thought we were friends. I looked at him in shock. Cheese niblets. But I wasn't at the Nibbler last night, I tried to explain. That seemed to make Benny even madder. Now you're calling me a liar, he squeaked. Well, that's it. No more free cheese for you. And you can forget my holiday cheddar log this year too. I didn't know what to say. My head was spinning faster than the cyclone at Mousyland Amusement Park. Unbelievable. Tell us, you rascal. I stumbled into my office, still in a daze. What was going on? Was I losing my mind? Why was everyone picking on me? Right then, the phone rang. Hello? Stilton speaking. Geronimo Stilton, I answered. It was Simon Squealer. He was the most famous radio host in all of New Mouse City. His show was all gossip. I hated that stuff. I mean, who cares about these silly scandals and rumors? I'd much rather read a good book than listen to that trash. So I wondered why Simon was calling me. Today we are speaking to Geronimo Stilton, best-selling author and publisher of the popular newspaper, the Rodents Gazette. The host began babbling. Yes, are you on air, Stilton? He finished. I gulped. Me? On the radio? Did you say on the air? I stammered. Simon just chuckled. What a poor puller. You're the one who set this interview. He laughed. Remember you called me on Friday? You said you had some juicy gossip you wanted to tell the public. Some big secrets about yourself? Well, go ahead. My listeners are waiting for it. What is it? I chewed my whiskers. This was crazy. I never called Simon Squealer. I didn't have any juicy secrets to reveal to the public. I really don't have anything to say, I mumbled. But Squealer wouldn't let me go. Don't be shy, you rascal, he insisted. Come on, tell us everything. Every shocking detail. I didn't know what to do. Should I make up some gossip? Should I come up with a terrible scandal? Nothing juicy ever happens to me. My sister Thea always tells me I'm as boring as a slice of plain American at a gourmet cheese shop. No, I couldn't make up a story, but I had to do something quickly. I grabbed a handkerchief from my pocket and put it over the phone. Then I pretended there was static over the line. Sorry, I think we must have a bad connection, I lied. Then I hung up. My sister may think I led a boring life, but today was not one bit boring. It was getting wackier by the minute. First an old mouse clocks me over the head with her umbrella. Then an old friend chews me out. And now this, I don't know what to make of it. Unbelievable. Chocolate cheese bites. The phone rang again. I was afraid to pick it up, but the ringing wouldn't stop. It was giving me a mouse-sized headache. At last, I gave in. Hello, Stilton speaking. Geronimo Stilton, I squeaked. A snooty voice came over the line. Yes, this is Samuel Stuffy Mouse from Sweet Selects. Your chocolate cheese bites are ready. Do you want them gift wrapped or will you be eating them today? Chocolate cheese bites? I hadn't any ordered chocolate. I mean, I love chocolate and cheese as much as the next mouse. But I was on a diet. I had started it last week. So far, I had only cheated once. My aunt Sweetfoot had sent me a pineapple cheesecake. How could I resist? I love cheesecake. Now I started at the phone. I'm sorry, I told the mouse on the other end. You must have the wrong rodent. I didn't order any chocolate. Stuffy Mouse snorted. I am a very busy mouse, Mr. Stilton, he huffed. I don't have time for your games. Of course you ordered them. You were in Sweet Selects just yesterday. Now do you want the chocolate gift wrapped or not? I didn't know what to say, Why wouldn't anyone listen to me today? But I've never heard of sweet selects, I tried to explain. For some reason, this made Stuffy Mouse even more annoyed. He began squeaking at the top of his lungs. It seemed like his store sold special gourmet chocolates. Each chocolate cheese bite was made by Paws. Some were even shaped like things. There were tiny mice, tiny cats, tiny trains. You ordered 5 pounds of our tiny tugboats, he shrieked in my ear. I felt faint. I don't even like boats. They make me feel queasy. Unbelievable. But Stuffy Mouse wasn't taking no answer. My delivery rat is on his way, he snarled. Please have your money ready. Seconds later, I heard a loud honking outside the door. I peered out of the window. I should have guessed. It was a Sweet Selects truck. A mouse dressed in a tuxedo carrying a large box jumped out. My bookkeeper, Ratty O'Shea, let him into my office. She handed me my checkbook. Oh, what could I do? I had to pay for the chocolate. Old Stuffy Mouse would have my tail if I refused. Besides, how expensive could a box of chocolates be? Then I saw the bill. I began crying like a rat who found his Christmas stocking filled with coal instead of cheese. Are you okay, Mr. Stilton? Ratsy asked. I coughed. I had to pull myself together. I couldn't see Ratsy me this way. After I am a professional mouse, I picked up the bill and wiped my eyes. I had never seen so many zeros in my life. I'm fine, Ratsy, I sobbed. Just fine. Unbelievable. Down the toilet, I decided I need to get some air. I left the office. I bought a magazine at the newsstand. It was one of those mouse hole improvement guides. And that's when I saw it. It was an ad for a toilet called the Flusher Rat. But it wasn't the toilet that caught my eye. It was the rodent standing next to the toilet. It was me. That's right, yours truly, Geronimo Stilton. In the picture, I was pointing to the toilet and grinning like I just won the mouse lotto. My heart began beating wildly. What was going on? What was my picture doing in a magazine? I looked closely at the ad. My name is Stilton, Geronimo Stilton, it said. I'm a sophisticated rodent. I want the best for my mouse hole. That's why I have a Flusher Rat. There is no other toilet like it. In fact, I had some of the best ideas for my book right here on the Flusher Rat. I cringed. Even my whiskers were blushing. How embarrassing. I sat down by the curb to think. Just then a truck rolled by. I glanced up. Past to the side of the truck was a huge color poster. It was another picture of me and the Flusher Rat. There were posters of me and the rotten toilet stuck up all over the city. Flusher Rat for the sophisticated mouse. The poster read, I couldn't believe it. I was famous for going to the bathroom. I was so upset. I felt used. I felt cheap. My life was going straight down the toilet. Unbelievable. A thick-headed fur brain. I headed home. I had to find out what was going on. A crowd of rodents was waiting in front of my mouse hole. There he is. That's him, I heard them shout. Oh no, they must have seen the posters of me and the flusher rat. Maybe they wanted to ask me about the toilet paper. A reporter stuck a microphone under my snout. Mr. Stilton, I'm calling Chattermouse from Mouse TV. Do you believe that watching TV is better than reading a book, he asked. Cheese niblets, I squeaked. That's ridiculous. Why would I, Geronimo Stilton, say such a thing? I am the publisher of the Rodents Gazette, the most popular paper in New Mouse City. I am a best-selling author. Only an ignorant, illiterate, incompetent, uncouth, thick-headed furbrain would say something such foolish, but before I could go on, the reporter waved a newspaper under my snout. Then how do you explain this? He challenged. I gasped. The front page showed a picture of me holding a remote in one paw. In the other paw, I held up a garbage can. It was filled with books. Stilton says books are for babies. Television is our friend, the headline read. Just then, the phone rang. I picked it up. I shouldn't have. The rodent on the other end gave me some horrible news. I was being kicked out of the press club. No respectable newspaper mouse would throw away books, he snorted. But I didn't do it. I tried to protest. Still, it was too late. While I was listening, a dial tone, the press club had hung up on me and my membership. Unbelievable. Stilton, old pal. I was miserable. Then I noticed a light blinking on my answering machine. I raced over to it. Maybe I had some happy messages. Maybe my favorite nephew had called. Or maybe my sweet granny won whiskers. Or maybe I just won that free vacation to Hamster's Island. I bought a raffle ticket just last week at the shop and nibble. Maybe I was about to get lucky. Excited, I pressed the button on my machine. But I was wrong about the messages. They weren't happy at all. They were horrifying. First, a message from some rodent named Stuart Swingtail. He said he was a singer at the Sleazy Fur Dance Factory. I frowned. I had never been there. Only sewer rats hung out at the Sleazy Fur. So what was Swingtail Mouse calling me for? Hey Stilton, old pal. You were really kicking up those paws Saturday night. He squeaked. By the way, you owe me 50 smackers. Don't forget, pal. See you next week at the factory. The second message was from Dr. Edward S. Smugrat III. He was very rich and stuck-up mouse. He had the best golf clubs and the best golf shoes and the best golf shirts. Still, he was an awful golfer. I guess it's true when they say clothes don't make the mouse. Stilton, what do you think you're trying to pull? Smugrat shrieked. I know you swiped my working credit card. I got the bill for your dinner with 57 friends at the golf club. You will be hearing from my lawyer. After that came a message from Mr. Van der Ratten. He owned an antique shop called the Treasured Crumbs. His antiques in my place were more expensive than my brother's bride and pro-print college tuition. Still, Mr. Van der Ratten said I had purchased a solid gold cheese holder just yesterday. I gave you the cheese holder on a good faith. I know you are a respectable newspaper mouse, but you'll need to come and settle your bill. Finally, there was a message from my sister's friend, Switzer Tenderfoot, Geronimo. What was up with you yesterday? She sniffed. I know you saw me at the movies. I was sitting 2 seats away. Why didn't you say hello? You were so rude. I slumped onto my couch. Could this day get any worse? I felt like a young mouse in squeaking school who had just been scolded by all of my teachers. I didn't know what to make of it. Unbelievable. I thought you hated bikes. I decided to call my sister, Thea. She's a special correspondent for my newspaper, the Rodents Gazette. Thea loves to pick on me, and she loves to give me advice. Hello, it's me, I said when she picked up the phone. Immediately, my sister started giggling. Jerry, she chuckled, you're looking pretty sharp on that motorcycle. I saw you on the corner of Blue Cheese Avenue and Fur Line Drive. That was some wheelie you pulled. When did you get the cycle? I thought you hated bikes. I sighed. Even my own sister thought she'd seen me. But of course, it wasn't me on that bike. I hated roller cycles more than a double-decker roller coaster at Scampertown Fair. I told Thea the whole story. She listened carefully. Then she hung up on me. I couldn't believe it. Even my own sister didn't want to talk to me. 5 minutes later, the phone rang again. It was Thea. I had made an appointment with you with a Philly chariot. She said, I'll pick you up right away. The Philly chariot's name was Dr. Furry Feelgood. He had thick glasses and a funny little beard. A sign on the wall read, Don't worry, keep squeaking. I began to tell him my story. What do you make of it, Doctor? I finished anxiously. He crossed his paw over his belly. This looks like a split personality case. Split personality case are very, very serious, he concluded. You don't remember things you've done. The things you have done. Whom you have met. It is as if there are two Geronimo Stiltons. This may take years of therapy. I shook my head. What was he repeating himself? Or was I hearing double? Two. Who knows? I left the office feeling discouraged. Even Dr. Feelgood couldn't make me feel good. May I have your autograph? Don't worry, big brother, my sister reassured me as we headed back to the office. Then a strange mouse approached us. Are you Geronimo Stilton? May I have your autograph, he asked. It's for my nephew. We're going to your show tonight. I love the dance numbers. Where did you get those moves? You're hilarious. My jaw hit the ground. Dance moves? What was he talking about? At that moment, I noticed a poster stuck on the side of a building. What was it? Could it be Holy cheese! It was. Yes, it was a picture of me. Geronimo Stilton, live on stage, the poster read. I didn't know what to make of it. I'm not an entertainer. No, I'm not even good at public speaking. At that moment, my sister tapped me on the shoulder. I think we may have figured how to solve your problem, I asked. Tonight we're going to that theater, they announced. I scratched my head. I love the theater, but I wasn't really in the mood for tonight. Besides, how would that solve my problem? You have the tickets to a show? I asked. Is it a musical? Is it a comedy? No, you nincompoop. We're going to see your show, Thea screeched. Geronimo Stilton live on stage. Identical? Just like twin mice. When we got to the theater, it was packed in an odd way. I was flattered. All these rodents had come to see me, Geronimo Stilton. A drum roll signaled on the start of the show. A mouse appeared on the stage. You all must know New Mouse City's most famous publisher, Geronimo Stilton, he began. He clapped. Mr. Stilton is not just a respected paper mouse. He's also a great performer, the mouse continued. Applause, more applause. So please put your hands together and welcome the unique, the amazing, and the one and only Geronimo Stilton, he exclaimed. A single spotlight hit the stage. Suddenly, a furry rodent jumped out of nowhere. He bowed to the crowd. I gasped. It was me. It wasn't me. It was him. I glanced at my sister, and she saw the same shock look on her face. You're absolutely identical, just like twin mouse, she whispered. Meanwhile, the mouse on stage was so busy greeting the crowd. He looked so smug. It gave me the chills. You're as sweet as a bowl of ice cream. The crowd was cheering like mad. I stared at the mouse on stage. What did they see in him? I'm not an ugly rodent, but I'm no Mel Gibsqueak, the famous movie mouse. The other me threw his hat into the air. Then he began to tap dance. He looked ridiculous, unbelievable. The other's dad started singing on stage. You're as sweet as a bowl of cream. You're every rodent's dream. Thinking of you, I'll melt with glee. You're just my cup of tea, I snorted. What a silly little song. How could he embarrass himself like this? I waited for the crowd to start booing, but nothing happened. Instead, the crowd began squeaking with delight. The lady sitting next to me had her paw on her heart. Oh, he's so romantic, he shrieked hysterically. What a mouse, that Stilton. I turned to my sister. I knew Thea wouldn't fall for all this trash. She had too much taste. She had too much class. She had her eyes glued onto the stage. The other me ended his number with a bow. His female admirers threw him roses. He picked them up one at a time. Then he laid them on his heart. The crowd shrieked with excitement. I didn't know what to make of it. The heavy yellow curtains came down. He disappeared behind them with a grin. A few minutes later, he came dressed out again. This time, He was dressed in a funny little skirt made of bananas. He had a pineapple on his head for a hat. Then he began singing and shaking a pair of maracas. Follow your tips, rotate your hips, wiggle your belly like some cheese jelly. Come on, take a chance, do a tropical dance. Then he performed a couple of dance routines. He even did the paw step, the fur flinging, and the mouse trot. The crowd was applauding non-stop. I had never seen anything like it. I felt like I was at a Ricky Rodent concert. The mouse was more popular than the frozen cheesecake in summertime. After that, my double launched into a wild cha-cha-cha cheese step. The whole time he sang the silly song. 1, 2, 3, cha-cha-cha, cheddary, cha-cha-cha, melted, brie, cha-cha-cha, munch like me, cha-cha-cha. Unbelievable! My lookalike changed his outfit one more time. He had a red roll between his teeth. He danced around the stage, blowing kisses at the audience. Ole, 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 he cried. Was he supposed to be a rat bullfighter? I could not get over his act. It was so bad. I could have burst out laughing or crying. After all, what if rodents thought that was me? He was awful, but the crowd loved him. They cheered and clapped as if he was the greatest thing since Larry Lapo invented spreadable cheddar. I didn't know what to make of it. Unbelievable. Next, he came on stage wearing a tuxedo. He sang an aria from an opera. I think it was Italian, but who knows? Maybe he was just making up some nonsense words. I couldn't put anything past this mouse. Once, again, he disappeared behind the curtains. He came back and began to rap. Your fur is so soft, your whiskers so fine. If I grill a cheese sandwich, will you be mine? While this entertained me, I was ready to run squeaking from the theater, and yet I seemed to be the only unhappy one. The crowd was applauding like mad. They were even dancing on the chairs. It was like a never-ending performance. Unbelievable. The next time he came back on stage, he was dressed as a serious actor. He sniffed the air with a grim expression on his snout. Then he began to recite from a play by William Shakespeare. Not to draw or not to ignore. That is the final question. Finally, he came out dressed as a clown with a red cherry taped onto his nose. A huge piece of Swiss sat on his head. He told a few jokes. They were very old knock-knock jokes. I had heard them all before. I thought this time he would definitely be booed. He was so awful. He was so pathetic. I looked around the crowd. He was getting a standing ovation. I didn't know what to make of it. Unbelievable. After the show, I was dying to meet the scoundrel snout to snout. So Thea and I waited near the actor's dressing room. After a while, my lookalike came out. He was whistling in one paw and he clutched a huge weight of bills. I was so angry I could hardly see straight. This miserable rodent was getting rich off my name. How dare you pass yourself off as me? I shrieked at the top of my lungs. Sydney Staffer, cheddar cheese chunks, he cried. Then he raced down the dark hallway. I ran after him, but he was too fast for me. He dropped something, though. It was a wallet. Dia plucked it from the floor. Let's see who this joker really is, she said. She opened the wallet and took out a business card. It read, Sydney Staffer, professional actor, singing, dancing, voices and more. Then she pulled out some crumbled up letters. They were from Sally Ratmousen. I gasped. My first stood off the end. Sally Ratmousen is my #1 enemy. She runs the Daily Rat, a terrible newspaper. It is filled with lots of made-up stories. Last week they had one about a pair of alien mice. It said the mice had landed in New Mouse City. Of course, none of it was true. Still, some rodents like to read the Daily Rat. In fact, it is my newspaper's biggest competition. Now I shook my head. I should have known that rotten Sally Ratmousen was behind all of this. It looked like she had hired Sydney Staffer to pretend he was me. I chewed my whiskers. Sally was not only evil, she was also clever. She must be cooking up a terrible plan. But what? The Daily Rat, 14 Cheese Court, New Mouse City, Mouse Island, 13131, to TCFRA, the Center for Rodent Actors. Dear Sirs, I need an actor who looks exactly like Geronimo Stilton. He is the publisher of the Rodents Gazette. Money is not important, sort of. If you can find a match, let me know right now, immediately. P.S. Don't tell Stilton. Daily Rat, 14 Cream Cheese Court, New Mouse Island, Mouse City, 13131. To Sydney Staffer. Dear Mr. Staffer, I received your picture. You seem to be Geronimo Stilton splitting image. You poor ninny. I'll pay any amount, sort of, if you play the part of that moron. Let me know right now, at once, immediately. Sally Rattenmouse. What a big mistake. That night I had a terrible dream. I was on stage singing, dressed in a skirt made of bananas. The next morning I was so tired I slept right through my alarm. I hurried down the stairs and raced into the dinner. I had my breakfast there every morning. The owner, Flip Hot Paws, seemed surprised to see me. Back for more coffee, Mr. Stilton? He said. I blinked. What do you mean? I asked, confused. But it was so late I didn't need for an answer. Next I raced over to the newsstand. I picked up a paper. Bobby Babble Snout stared at me from behind the counter. Mr. Stilton, you already bought your paper this morning. He squeaked. I shook my head. That's impossible, I protested. I just got here. You must be confused me with another mouse. Bobby frowned. I never forget a customer, he insisted. Besides, you've been coming here for the past 20 years. I'd recognize your snout anywhere. I didn't have time to argue, so I put down my paper and headed towards my office. When I got there, the door was locked. Thea stuck out her eye. She saw me, her eyes wide open. "How dare you show up here?" she shrieked. "Well, you can't take your tail somewhere else. The real Geronimo Stilton is already inside." She slammed the door in my snout. I knocked again. "Thea, open the door. Please, it's me," I cried. She opened the door again. "Go away, you imposter." Now I was really worried. Even my own sister didn't know me. "But Thea, don't you recognize me? Your brother," I insisted. She gave me a closer look. For a minute she seemed about to change my mind. I straightened my tie, I picked my briefcase, and I was ready for work. But then, through the half-open door, I saw something horrifying. It was me. I mean him. I mean the fake Geronimo Stilton sitting behind my desk. Of course, I know which one is the real Geronimo, my sister was muttering. When they caught sight of me, my employees began whispering fiercely. "That's Mr. Stilton's double," they said to one another. My secretary, Marcella, shook her head. "Cheese niblets. That doesn't look like him at all. The real Stilton is this one," she said, pointing to the mouse sitting at my desk. With that, my sister slammed the door in my snout again. "Buzz off, furface," she shouted, "and don't you dare come back." A holeless mouse. I went back to home. I tried to open the door. The key wouldn't fit. Someone had changed the lock. I couldn't believe this. Could this be happening to me? I was a good mouse. I never bothered anyone. I went to work. I paid my taxes. I volunteered down at the homeless shelter. Holy cheese! Now, I was a homeless mouse, too. I guess it's true when they say it could happen to anyone. One by one, I called all of my closest friends. Unfortunately, Thea had warned them about me. They slammed the phone in my ear. They thought I was the fake Geronimo Stilton. I called my cousin Trap. I got his obnoxious answering machine. "Squeak your name and number. If you're lucky, I'll get back to you." How typical. My cousin is one really disturbed mouse. Last of all, I tried to call my favorite nephew, Benjamin. He's only 9 years old. He was in school. But the principal said I was not allowed to squeak with him. Randy Rat has. My sister must have warned him too. I decided there was only one thing left to do. I hid outside my hole, then waited for the fake Geronimo Stilton to show up.